James Caan is one of the UK's most successful and dynamic entrepreneurs. He's now taking this first-hand knowledge on the road to mentor 6 of the UK's most vibrant small to medium-sized enterprises. Will the young companies make the change or stick to their ways? The business class begins here.
Hello and welcome to the Business Class. I'm Ross Westgate. Now, over the last 6 weeks, James Caan has witnessed 6 small to medium-sized businesses seek advice on how to overcome barriers to growth. So what are the current challenges facing SMEs in the UK? To get to the heart of the issues, we're joined by a very special panel. We've got Charlie Muirhead, founder and CEO of Wrightster, Ian Wright, Shadow Minister for Competitiveness and Enterprise, Lord Digby Jones, UK Business Ambassador, and last but by no means least, Priya Lakhani, founder of Masala Masala. We'll get to our panel in just a few moments, but first, James, before we begin, you've been mentoring 6 companies of varying sizes over the last few weeks. What has stood out most from that experience?
I think the first thing, Ross, is that I can say is Britain is absolutely open for business. I think just the sheer number of entrepreneurs and businesses we met, I think was so encouraging. The dynamism, the creativity, and I think what was really great about the shows is we took a journey. We started with businesses with 100,000, then 1 million, then 10 million, then 50 million, then 100 million. And what we really saw was how enterprises grew in this country.
Well, let's hear from those businesses. Thanks you, James. This is what the 6 participants had to say.
Our challenge now is to continue to maximise PR on a limited budget and also ensure we're driving traffic back to the website that converts into sales. How do we do this?
My own experience of PR really is you've got to find a hook.
I would encourage them to do interesting, quirky social media activity.
Get that brand out there, get blogging, get media, get marketing, and make sure that we get that revenue flowing in.
We're getting interest all the time from people that want to use the quick screen in their offices, in restaurants. Should we be diversifying into these other markets, or should we keep focused?
I definitely don't think you should just stick to one market. It's far too risky.
And I just love to see businesses starting up in the UK, making things in the UK. And here's a couple of guys who are product focused.
How do we get the major investors, such as the banks, to start investing and participating in businesses like ourselves?
For most bankers, the social enterprise market is not one that they spend a lot of time on.
First thing I would encourage him to do is to try and put a figure to what his social outcomes are. By taking these young people off job seekers, he's actually saving society a lot of money.
We're now focused on expanding the number of retailers offering shuttle. What can we do to get the UK's major retailers to say yes quicker?
Retailers are looking for new ways to serve their customers.
This does enable people to get stuff very quickly. It almost takes out the need to go out shopping in these instances. If you start thinking about it like that, it's a significant change in shopping behaviour.
The second challenge for us is opening our buyer units overseas. We need help in deciding who to partner with and how to set up the deals.
Going down the route of going overseas, very easy to lose control of the brand, very easy to spend a lot of money with the wrong people.
You'd be better off really focusing on getting that management structure right first, expanding on what you're doing in the UK and your export, then reassessing in 18 months' time what the landscape looks like before you start looking at opening bars outside of your own territory.
Our second challenge is how can we influence government policy to benefit the consumer?
Forget about government intervention. Build a business that the consumer is interested in, not the government is interested in.
It is better you don't get governments intervening in free markets because you have less predictability of how things are going to turn out.
I hear this a lot with businesses always talking about, I think government needs to do more, how can the government, get involved with it? To me, I would say one of the best ways to get government influence is have a a business that's got a bit of scale and depth.
OK, so that's the highlights of the first 6 episodes. Let's just pick up on that final point about the issue of government influence. Digby, I'll kick off with you. What do you make of those comments?
Well, he said one of my challenges is to how do I get government policy to come to the assistance of the consumer? In a business, what you want governments to do is create an environment with a tax base, with access to skills, with good infrastructure. You want to create an environment in which a business can invest, get on, and produce profit and jobs.
We also, in episode 2, we met QuickScreen, their British product manufacturers. There's been a lot of debate about how to stimulate growth in manufacturing. I'm just wondering, James Priya, whether, you know, again, this should be a government-dictated issue, or whether, you know, we're doing enough.
What we saw on the show, I thought, was a great example of entrepreneurs and businesses manufacturing in this country, doing it at a profit, distributing that product, and illustrating that Britain is more than capable of having a great manufacturing base, and it works.
Now it's time to hear if our entrepreneurs think the banks and government are doing enough to support British SMEs.
The UK is very conducive to doing business as an entrepreneur. The government, neutral at best.
I think the government needs to do an awful lot more. I don't really want to be making huge amounts of profit to be paying just tax on.
There are a whole range of government schemes now. One of the criticisms is there's too many schemes and different sources of finance. And we need to bring all these together now and make sure that really there's just one place you go to.
You look at the US, where there's a real culture of investing in high-risk startups, and Europe just doesn't have that culture yet. There's a lot more that the government can do to make the fiscal environment in the UK really, really attractive to investors.
A lot of people talk about, you know, banks aren't lending to startups, and that perhaps they should be. I'm not sure that it's appropriate.
OK, quite a few thoughts there from our businesses. Let's get straight into the money-raising issue here.
A lot of the people who came on the show, what they said was once they had their business up and running, they did find the banks extremely useful, because once you've got a product and you can demonstrate to the bank, you can service that loan, you know, the banks actually were very willing and able.
I was really interested in James's programme on Brewdog. And the Equity for Punks scheme, using the customer base, using the power of the brand and the power of social media to be able to get what was essentially an IPO, wasn't it?
I think these innovative new business models, I was just thinking, imagine if there was a crowdsourced way to get business loans to entrepreneurial companies that were essentially venture debt, which was an industry as well. That's another type of financing. So I think this crowdsourcing model is very interesting because it's individuals taking risk and assessing it.
I just want to get your views, first of all, is for any entrepreneurs that have, and business owners have been watching this programme, Charlie Prue, what would you say to them today, right now, about, you know, what you're focusing on and what they need to think about?
Assume that this is the baseline, and take advantage, be an entrepreneur, go out, look on the web for all the advice, and get up and running and try something quickly and get feedback on it and see what people think and then evolve.
Go with your idea, do the research, make it happen. I think we're speaking to people who already really know what they're going to do. I think if they're already sitting at home and they're thinking, do I, don't I, I'm not sure, and they're going to take another 2 years to make that decision, maybe it's not for them.
An entrepreneur in this nation is going to work her or his socks off. And if they're not ready for that, don't do it.
Okay.
For me, this has been an incredible journey. We've had some amazing businesses that have come on the show. We've had some fantastic guests that we've invited that have made some incredible contributions. You know, a lot of the entrepreneurs have walked away with what I believe has been real business advice, which is what the show was really all about. Well, I'm really proud to say that I've actually walked away on a number of occasions being incredibly inspired and motivated myself, meeting some of these entrepreneurs that have got these incredible ideas. You know, businesses like Brewdog that demonstrated that despite there's no money out there, you can actually raise money from your own customers. So for me, it's been a fantastic journey, thoroughly enjoyed it, and I just hope that the entrepreneurs that have gone away with the business advice are going to prosper in the future.
Well said. And that's it for this series of The Business Class. A big thank you to you, James, and all our guests. Goodbye for now.